Hey, what's up? It's Jake Kaiser here, and today we're going to be walking through my brand new track titled Anna, out now on Progression Records. Before we hop into the project, I did want to mention that a lot of the ideas of this track were written on guitar using this Fender Strat right here, and a lot of the melodic heart of this track still incorporates the guitar melodies that were written, and you can hear both the acoustic and the electric guitar throughout as little lead elements and a little bit of sound candy in the background as well. With that, let's jump into the project and take a look. All right, so now here we are in the project file for Anna. A little bit of history here is this song was written early spring in 2020. I vividly remember it being a beautiful day, and I was watching some Anna hummingbirds outside my studio at the time and was just really enjoying like picking up the guitars and just getting a little creative. And I think this song just kind of captures that like kind of spring fever, ready for summer to start, happy vibes. And with that, let's take a look. So the key thing I wanted to start out with is the idea of this track all started out with a guitar, like I mentioned. And that is all here. There was a bit more kind of noodling done on the guitar, and it was finally cut up to these kind of key elements right here. And you can see there's a lot of space on that guitar. It was directly put into my audio interface. I'm just line in, and I got a little bit of saturation going on, and then a lot of space with a lot of delay, some tremolator and some reverb, just kind of having that sit in the background and be that kind of melodic theme that the rest of the track was built on. And I also do have these kind of big chord hits too. And you can see there's a little bit of different processing there. And I was playing around with some different pedals and stuff. And I forgot exactly the processing that was done, but you can see there's a little bit of, definitely a lot of variation of the signal coming in into the box in the end. But those ideas were really what kicked off this whole track. And then I took those melodic ideas and for the main kind of more dancey sections, I put them into a few synths here. I think the main one is this Diva lead, and then the Serum and Spire are just kind of supporting players here, and this is kind of that main melodic theme. And I think my favorite thing about that is that I actually have this pan flute. That's actually a Serum patch that does that little counter melody, just providing a little bit more kind of space and a little bit more excitement there. Down here in this kind of random group, just a few other little pieces of ear candy and some effects. And I will apologize that this this track is kind of a bit older now, and it is not very organized, so I will do my best at showing everything, but I apologize for the mess that is this project. I did a little cleanup, but didn't want to spend too much time cleaning up an old track, so we'll make the most of it. Let's look at the drums. Nothing too complicated here. The main drums are in this bus, and then this group here just has the kick going to it. There's a few other things in that bus, it sounds like, but let's bring in the rest of the drums. And I think the key thing about these drums are I was trying to kind of keep it a little bit more organic than I might usually do, just because I started off with the guitar and that was kind of in my mind at the time. You can hear that. with the drums and there's some like kind of hand claps in there, just a little bit more organic feeling. Hats are pretty simple, nothing really to talk about there. Really simple. Honestly, not even a lot of automation humanization that I generally do a little bit more of in this track. And then we also do have just a variety of kind of different percussive loops here and kind of ideas. And that just provides a little bit more groove. And then the other two real key elements for the groove and the overall drum bus is this clave right here, kind of rhythmic. And then also this random hits. Not even sure what these are. And the final key thing that really comes into the overall drums that adds a lot of energy is there is a big open hat with some Haas effect here, a nice wide sound that's just kind of been spread out over the stereo image with the use of delay that kind of in the second part of the second main section of the track really keeps the energy going and ends the track feeling really strong. And that's all the drums. And now let's talk about the bass elements. We kind of already looked through that random group of guitar and kind of main melodic ideas. The bass, the first thing I want to talk about is the sub is actually rhythmic when the rest of the mid and higher basses are more sustained here. And you can see that this sub is kind of more of a rolling bass kind of style pattern, but it's really cut off at around 200 hertz. And that with the kick kind of sounds like this. And that's the kind of keeps that low end energy and a little bit of bounciness to the track. And then let's bring in those kind of more sustained bass layers. And that's really the meat of the song in terms of energy, is that whole stack of sounds. The three main ones are three divas here. The kind of big gritty one, which is really the majority of the energy, is just a pretty simple saw diva patch with some automation in terms of that filter cutoff. And I think there's a little automation on the attack as well. Quite a bit of feedback on this, and all of these three synths, or like these diva patches, all have a good amount of glide, which has that, you can notice that the song has that big glide between those big sustained notes. These two diva patches here are kind of stacked with some chord voicing, which again makes them feel very full, and I'll play that with the drums together too. Then this is just a little bit of a drone, again, filling in some space. Good amount of space from some reverb in there, as well as a good amount of auto pan, just kind of moving it around. And that tagged up with some other kind of atmospheric pieces down in this last group, just fill in the track nicely. And then the next thing to talk about are these main kind of final melodic ideas. So I had this track, as we kind of saw earlier here, with all those guitar elements, and thought I needed something else. And what came out of that was these final melodic ideas, starting with this main kind of arpeggio that goes throughout the whole track. And that's a really, really simple patch here. It's just like a Juno saw, kind of more organic, or analog, not organic, waveform. Just a simple plucky sound with a little bit of saturation and a good amount of space on there with two different delays and some reverb. And that is kind of paired up with this other very spacey kind of plucky element with a ton of delay. which just provides a little bit more counter melody there and just kind of another little interesting piece of something else going on. And then the final kind of key layer that was put on here, which I do pretty often, is this offbeat vocal chop, which are on the beats where your hat or your snare would sit. And this one actually has a good amount of pitch shifting going on with Little Altar Boy by Sound Toys, which is actually making it a little bit more of a melodic idea. It's not just a tonic single note. And there is some formant shifting there as well, kind of making it a little interesting and unique. And processing wise, just some reverb on there, a tiny bit of OTT to kind of bring out that reverb. And I also did get Oak Sound Soothe for the final, right as I was, I guess, doing the final export of this track. I decided to get this because I was having such a hassle trying to calm down this vocal with EQ, and I'd heard so many good things. I did pick up Oak Sound and have been using that a lot since, but it just kind of tamed some of the harsh elements in this original sample. And then the final group down here is just a lot of atmospheric elements, some field recordings of some rain with some birds that I forgot exactly where. Just some kind of other interesting sweeps and vocally things. Just really some ear candy and elements that bring all the kind of different sections of the track together and feel cohesive. And with that, I think we've kind of talked over the whole track. Like I said, if you have any specific questions, definitely reach out to me. Leave a comment on the video and I could get into any details of processing or anything else anyone's interested in. But with that, I will play the kind of main part of this track. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the tune and have a great rest of your day.